I cover a lot of tech stocks on this channel, and it seems like a lot of focus around tech is in two areas. It's either semiconductors. I talk about semiconductors a lot, so that'd be companies like NVIDIA, AMD, TSM, things like that, Qualcomm. Or another main focus is the Mag 7, which of course a lot of those are diversified. They're in all sorts of different tech industries. And you get some overlap here, but maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the companies I'm looking at, but I don't view a whole lot of software companies. And that's interesting to me because I really, really like the industry. And there's plenty of reasons for that. Let's break some of them down. One of the major advantages software companies have is they generally have higher profit margins. This is good because it gives you a lot of leeway. Something like a Walmart. Think about a Walmart. You do not have a lot of profit margin. You just don't. Even a perfect run Walmart doesn't sniff the average mediocrely run software company. And that's just how it's built. If we break down why having good profit margins or higher profit margins is good, it's nice. You have a lot more cash flow. You can deploy a lot more capital. You can get the ball rolling. If that means every increase in revenue, you have a lot more cash to deploy back into the business. There's plenty advantages. And also, if you have a bad year or something like that, you have a lot more cash you're sitting on. You don't have to. It's just very, very nice to have large profit margins. Also, that point's kind of mute, so I'm not even going to go there. But when we break down the why of, okay, why do they have so much higher profit margins? I mean, if you think about Walmart again. Think about milk. How many processes does milk have to go through to get to the shelf? Right? You have to feed the cows. You have to grow them from childhood. You have to make sure they do not die. You have to harvest the milk. Is that harvest the milk? Is that weird? I guess it's a farm. It's kind of fun. You have to process them. You have to make sure it's sanitary. You have to load it into a tanker. You have to drive it to. It's so complex and all that. And Walmart gets it for like what, $2? It depends on where you're at. $1.50 to $2.50 for a gallon of milk. That's crazy. And if you don't get it that cheap, no one's gonna buy it. They're gonna buy something else, right? So it's so hard, and you can think about that for 100,000 different items Walmart sells. With a software company, right? You get some developers, you maintain it. I'm maybe simplifying it a little too much, but the point is, you're gonna have costs with software companies. Of course, you want to make sure you have people employed. You want to make sure if it's very important, it doesn't go down and do a lot of harm to your reputation. So you want to be very careful. There's costs there, but it's nothing like some other industries. Another advantage that they have generally is they are very important. So many industries count on these specific softwares to do what they do. My job requires that. I'm sure almost all of you watching, there's probably a few of you who are retired, maybe in between jobs, but all of you are either at a job where you think, okay, I use this software, I use that software, I use this software, I use that. There's so many different ones, and there's industries that literally could not function without some software. It's very, 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 very important. Very, very important. I mean, everything you're using to watch the sun is built in software, of course, maybe not specific software companies. I wouldn't really call Apple a software company. But I mean, they certainly do create their own software, but they aren't selling it to another business. But I mean, you can even see Microsoft is built on that, man. A lot of they dominate a lot of the Office stuff. They just do a phenomenal job. But there's a lot of other niche ones as well. There's plenty. That's why I like Square. I mean, SAP is one here too, very well. There's so many different ones you can think of. Adobe does really well. Let's pull that one up real quick. I mean, you can go to all these companies, all the ones that are large, successfully well run. That does not look like the correct chart. Adobe's had a little bit worse of a go in it, but I think even if you zoom out, going back to 2015, they were on a crazy run up to 2021. So yeah, even if you bought anywhere late 2015, right, you're still up substantially in this time. And of course, there's plenty of terrible software companies. I'm not saying this, but once you get into whatever industry you're in, very, very hard to pry you out of that. It takes sometimes years, if ever, because once these people are using it, they get familiar. That's almost like coding. I don't know if any of you have any sort of coding background, but once you're already established, it's so hard to get out. People are used to the software. They feel comfortable with it. Businesses don't want to change. They don't want to adapt. It can take years and years and years and years. And even then, like I said, if you have enough capital, even if, okay, maybe this is becoming less relevant, you can diversify. And another thing is very important. Maybe people see this, maybe they don't. You can totally disagree on this. I think AI is going to do very, very well. And increasing profit margins even further. There's a lot of maybe businesses that would benefit more, maybe something like an HR. I did a video on that a couple months back. Probably most of you didn't see it, but it was specifically a company that does lots of HR management. I think AI is going to, oh my gosh, they're going to shoot those profit margins up insane. But I think software companies can do that a lot because, hey, you don't have to hire as many coders. I mean, we can see software engineering jobs already compared to 2022 in the gutter. They are not doing well. People are not hiring a lot of coders at all. So, but that's good for the companies that have to hire a lot of coders. They don't have to hire as many. AI can do a lot of that. They can read through code. They can find bugs, things like that. They can help find flaws. It's just good. And of course, it's not quite there yet, but I'm talking 1, 2, 3 years. Man, I mean, think of all the leaps and bounds. So, and I think AI is going to do well. And also, a lot of them can sell AI as well too. If you're to ask me what companies I specifically like in this field, like I said, I don't cover them as much. I personally don't own as much. I want to get more. Really safe, simple, easy one. Everyone likes them. They've done very well. Microsoft, right? I don't think I'm wowing anyone with that pick, but I do own a substantial amount of Microsoft. I like them a lot. Palo Alto Networks is really interesting to me. They do networking as well. It's kind of like a mix between software and more hands-on stuff. Everyone needs networking, but specifically data centers and stuff. I work at a pseudo data center. We need help with networking all the time. I don't even want to know what the networking guy makes when he helps us out, which isn't very often, but because he's not full-time employed. But he makes, I'm telling you, considerable amount. I know in his other jobs he makes a lot. He makes a lot when we call him in too. I'll tell you that much. So industry like this, I mean, you can just see this chart. It's insane. Obviously, you have high PE. It's not quite that high because they're becoming profitable, but still. Company doing incredibly well. If you don't mind a little bit more of a flyer, obviously, if you were going to bear market, if you're worried about that, Palo Alto probably won't do too hot, even if the company's doing well, because that's how bear markets work. But this is a good pick for me. I think if you do your own research, I'm not, of course, none of this is financial advice, but I wouldn't quite have the balls to recommend, okay, buy this, but generally a lot of the larger ones, there's safety in large companies, but they're good in general, and I wouldn't feel uncomfortable holding a lot of these. Anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. This one took a lot of time to make. I was really getting things and words mixed up. I had to do a lot of these re-recorded. So if you like to subscribe, I appreciate that a lot, especially on this video. That took probably 30 minutes to record, which isn't that long, but it is long for me. So I appreciate you all for watching. I'll catch you next time.